Welcome back, everyone. We are Cats in Camo, back with our Walther P22, picking up right where we left off last time.
So the first thing we're going to do is we've got it loaded out with 10 rounds, and we're going to put 2 rounds downrange into the torso on the left, and then we're going to attempt to knock down the zombie heads that are AR 500 steel with the 22, and then finish off with 2 rounds into the torso on the right. The 2 torsos, not worried about, I just have to hit them. Knocking down the plates is going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to hope they're weak zombies who have not feasted on brains for a long time. So, the Walther P22. So, each zombie took one full in the face and is still laughing at me. We have not tried this before, so we have no idea what the 22 is going to do to this. Hopefully they won't just laugh at the 22 like the zombies steal. Alright, you are loaded but not chambered. Maybe it wasn't. Racket. There you go. You shot the lid off.
That hit me.
Part of the lid did.
There you go.
Just a little off the top. And your record remains intact. Oh! It's snowing!
And we're back in the studio, everybody, with our Walther P22, getting ready to give it a final review.
So we were out at the range, we put it through its paces, we shot different courses, we shot paper, we shot steel that did not fall down, and then we shot fluid things that did fall down, and in some cases blew up. So here's our rating system. We're going to judge it on 8 different categories. Now we're going to start right off. We're going to talk about the comfort of grip. If you look at this gun, it's got a very ergonomic design. Walther has gotten rave reviews on the shape and feel of this gun. But the first person reviewing it on this video is 6'7", and my hands are not the size of Allie's hands. So for me, this gun, the ergonomic grips actually worked against it because it's supposed to form to your hand, or in this case your hand should form to the gun, and my hands were simply too big for it, and it wasn't comfortable for me gripping the gun in a two-handed shooter's grip, so I'm going to have to give it a 2.
Well, I have the exact opposite, and I have to give it a 4 out of 5 actually, because it was very comfortable. The very first time I picked it up, it did seem to fit my hand. And it felt very comfortable to hold. I felt very confident about it. And so, yeah, 4 out of 5. Really well done.
So let's talk about the sights on this gun. This gun actually has adjustable sights, and they're standard 3-dot contrast sights. And when I say standard, that's pretty much it. They're industry standard, they're serviceable, they're decent quality. But there's nothing that really stands out about them for me. I'm going to give it a 3.
I'm not sure there's much more I can add to that, because, I mean, it's so true. It's average, it's standard, it does the job, but it's not anything spectacular.
Let's talk about the trigger then. The trigger on the P22 is designed to be crisp and clean, positive reset so you know where it's at, and not too long on the pull with the 22. And again, average. It does its job. It's what it's supposed to be. but not outstanding for me. I give it a 3 again.
When I was shooting the 22, I was expecting it to be way, way different, and it really wasn't that much different. I mean, the recoil was different, but that's something entirely different. But the trigger did seem to be fairly industry standard, so 3 out of 5.
Well, let's talk about recoil, since you brought it up. The perceived recoil, there's almost none. Even by 22 standards, it's less recoil. They did a good job on this. I'm giving it a 4.
The recoil was way nicer than anything else I've fired so far. Because again, there basically was none. And so that made it a lot easier and nicer to fire. Don't have to worry about compensating or having to readjust because of a recoil reaction. So, yeah, 4 out of 5.
Well, let's talk about accuracy now. For just shootability, I'm going to give this gun a 3. It's kind of a standard average 22 for me. There's 22s I like shooting better and some that I don't like shooting as well. I think a lot of it had to do with just being too small for my hands. But 3.
For me, the accuracy seemed to be a little bit all over the place. When I was shooting the paper targets, I wasn't hitting consistently in the same area. It was a larger circle or circumference of where my bullets were going. I felt a little underwhelmed. I was expecting more out of the 22, which maybe I shouldn't have. But I would have to give it a 2 out of 5 for accuracy. It just, for me, even though it felt great in my hands, it didn't seem to give the accuracy that I was looking for.
Well, let's talk about ease of reload, doing a mag change. The magazine release is actually on the trigger guard. You push down, and it's ambidextrous. It's on either side. I'm a big fan of the paddle design. It spits the magazine out clean, easy reload. For me, best part of the gun, and I gave it a 4.
I really enjoyed the release on this gun. Again, being left-handed, it made it easier for me. I was able to find a trick, so to speak, to make it work for being left-handed as opposed to right-handed, and with ease I could, by far, out of anything that I've gotten to shoot so far, it easily was able to hit the button, pull it out, reload, and then get back to the shooting. So yeah, I would have to say 4 out of 5 as well for ease of reload.
Which just leaves us with ease of maintenance and cleaning. My problem with it is the recoil spring is not captured on the guide rod, and it is really difficult to get it lined up and put back through. Again, it went much better on the review than it does normally, but that's a big problem on an otherwise user-friendly gun. And for that reason, I'm actually going to give this a 1.
For me, again, I've only observed it being done. I've never actually had to do this myself. So when it comes to rating this, I rate it very loosely because, again, I don't have the experience to qualify me to actually give a detailed answer on this. So I did just give it a 3 out of 5. It seemed fairly simple from what I got to see, and it seemed, but it didn't seem overly hard.
All right, let's look at our totals now. If you add my scores up, the gun came out to a 23, which is right at average. It's just a tiny, it's 1 point out of 8 categories below average, and honestly, what pulled it down there was the ease of maintenance.
My total score for the Walther was actually a 26, so a little bit above average. So,
you gave it a higher score than I did.
I did.
That has never happened before. She liked the gun more than I did.
Well, I think it goes in hand with the size. This gun is really made for smaller hands, and so that being in mind, smaller hands are gonna favor the gun more than larger hands. It's just gonna feel out of place. So, but that's about all the time we have for today. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. If you liked this video, please point those crosshairs at the like button down below, and stay tuned for more reviews coming later on. See you then.